ever felt like your face was on fire, your head was spinning, your heart is racing, maybe you're sweating and you feel like you might just pass out? Even if you have felt like this one time, possibly even today, as we give our first speeches, you have encountered an episode of experiencing anxiety. And I'm here today to talk a little bit about anxiety because it is something that I have suffered from for most of my life. And I also have a sibling who suffers from PTSD, as one of our other students gave a speech on. So anxiety and controlling the condition of anxiety is a big part of my life. So now that I've kind of acted it out, I think even if you don't suffer from repeated anxiety, at least you know what I'm talking about, because definitely being college students, you know, we have those moments of just sort of panic before a test or that sort of thing. So today I'd like to just talk a little bit about anxiety and some mechanisms for coping with it. And I'm dressed a bit non-traditionally, and that is because I am a yoga teacher. And so before I move on, one of my coping mechanisms is for everyone just to close your eyes and breathe with me. A deep breath in through the nose. Exhale past the lips. Okay, I feel better. Maybe you do too. Okay, so some of the physical symptoms of anxiety, according to the Mayo Clinic, are having an increased heart rate, breathing rapidly, sweating, trembling, maybe even a headache that feels, sort of unexplainable. And here's the big one, trouble sleeping. Anxiety can keep you up at night. I know it does for me. It's something that I struggle with, and it's like the old catch-22 saying, you're anxious, so you can't sleep. You don't sleep, so you're anxious, and you just feel like, oh, you're out of control. So for me personally, obviously the sleeping is a problem for me. I get headaches. I'm sometimes short-tempered when I'm very anxious, and I get sugar cravings. For example, today, whereas I was going to come in here and tell you guys, I normally grab a healthy banana for, a sugar craving. Yeah, what I did today was I ate half a bag of Almond Joys. So, not suggesting that. Try to stick with the banana. This is a nice, healthy, sweet snack, and it might make you think about leaving the Halloween candy alone. Along with staying hydrated, you can get very dry, dehydrated, and sometimes that can cause the headaches and even the not sleeping because your body is depleted of, all of its resources. So always stay well hydrated. And if you practice yoga, that's important too. So, some of the mental or emotional symptoms of anxiety are just, feeling nervous, restless, or tense, having a sense of danger, or maybe even just trouble concentrating because your brain's kind of all over the place. I know for me personally, this is how I explain my anxiety. I feel like the world is going to come to an end, and once it ends, I'm going to be responsible for starting civilization all over again. That's how bad it gets for me sometimes. I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's the feeling. I don't know if anyone remembers the movie Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. But sometimes I say that I'm Tina Turner and I'm going to have to come out and restart civilization. So, that along with living with the feeling like I can't get it all done, whatever it is. It could be making my lunch and, going back to work, but I can't do it because I'm anxious. There's also some, sadness, anger, and crying that can go along with anxiety. So I'm trying to just share all of this today because especially in this setting, being college students, maybe having kids or also holding down a job, anxiety is real, and there are people out there in the world that don't believe it. And so, I'm a bit animated, but I just want to make sure that the audience understands that it's a real condition, a real problem. Okay, so deep breath again. I'm just kind of bring my hands together, keep my feet separated. Breathe in through the nose. I can keep going. All right, so the Anxiety and Depression Association of America stresses that exercise routines are very helpful and important in reducing anxiety. If you have a steady exercise routine, you probably are less anxious than some of us who just kind of exercise when they feel like it, which, guilty. But when you exercise, endorphins are produced, and that generates the good feelings. So it's really important to find exercise that you like. Me, for example, I walk into a gym and that causes anxiety. I don't want to be there. Walk into a yoga studio, I'm all happy. So it's very important, even just if you take a walk to your car while you're on campus, that can be a way to release anxiety. So, studies actually show that a 10-minute walk is just as good as a 45-minute workout. So always take that time for yourself to just kind of decompress and do some exercise. According to the Yoga Journal, which of course is one of my favorite publications, about 18.1% of the population, or over 40 million adults, suffer from anxiety. So, it's a pretty big deal. And one of my new favorite yoga teachers, who also produces books just for teachers like myself to learn more about helping people deal with anxiety, she says that a simple forward fold like this, because your head is now below your heart, and it releases the tension in the back of your neck. Just simple things like that can reduce your anxiety immediately. So if you can't get outside, just fold forward. No one will wonder what you're doing. It'll be fine. So just, as I said, for me personally, walking and yoga is about all I do for exercise, but it does help. And then as far as diet goes, of course we all try to, do our best when we can, but again, having a busy Western life, it's hard to focus on the healthy eating habits. So according to Mind Body Green, which is another publication I like, drinking herbal teas. This one is actually called Stress Relief. I thought it would be perfect for today. But just having some hot tea to sip on, or making it even iced if it's warm outside, can help just kind of calm you a little bit naturally instead of relying on medication. And of course sometimes that's needed too, but I really like the Stress Relief one, so yogi teas can be very helpful there. And then sleeping habits, as I said, the National Sleep Foundation has said that anxiety and sleep deprivation go hand in hand, so even though I feel like that's absolutely true, I did actually find information to back that up. So one thing that they suggest to do is to take time to unwind. Don't just finish your homework and jump in the bed and expect to sleep, because your brain will be cycling. And another thing that is suggested is to make a to-do list, so that if you've got all this stuff rambling in your head, you can just kind of write it down and go back to it the next morning. For me, I have noticed that I am less anxious at bedtime if I put my screens down, all of them, the phones, the laptop, the iPad, because I love to binge watch shows, and I usually fall asleep doing it, but when I put that darn thing down, I sleep a lot better. Also, doing some stretches in the floor before you go to bed is really helpful. Again, that whole head below the heart thing, and just kind of stretching out your legs can make you a little bit more comfortable to go to sleep. And one thing I've learned as I age is not to go to bed with a grudge. So even if you can't resolve whatever grudge you have, maybe right away just commit to yourself that you're going to resolve whatever that grudge is. So my life has changed pretty greatly over the past 5 to 10 years since I've found yoga and have started eating better and have started to deal with some of the issues that cause my anxiety. It can be very debilitating, which it was for me at one point, and you probably can think of someone in your own life that has that type of challenge right now. So it's my hope that with this background in anxiety and examples of exercise, food, sleeping habits, that you feel a little more informed about what anxiety is and how to deal with it. And the next time anxiety might strike you or a friend like a bolt of lightning, just, suggest some herbal tea or a yoga pose, and hopefully you'll feel better. Thank you.